YouTube comments from a video titled AI Whistleblower, we are being gaslit by AI companies, they're hiding the truth. Karen Hao. Part 6.
Kitkakis wrote,
Seeing Stephen mention Elon, Mark Zuckerberg, etc. as bastions of truth makes me happy and sad. Happy because my thinking is clearly ahead of the likes of Stephen Bartlett. I stopped idolizing Silicon Valley CEOs a long time ago, when it became obvious they use their influence and positions to make decisions that are not the best for humanity, but the best for their egos and money-making schemes. Sad because this Stephen Bartlett has a platform and is pushing idolization of CEOs as geniuses when they are not. The AI movement and the rapid decline of the global economy and living standards proves it. All this money and influence, and these CEOs' answer, is to replace artists and creators with AI slop, so they don't have to hire people anymore. Wake up, everyone. In design, thinking good product design has humans at the heart, has empathy with humans, and solves a problem. What problem is AI solving? No one asked for this crap, and they know it. That's why Bezos, Elon, Sam Alt, etc. are pushing it so hard. If Stephen had any scene, he would see where the majority of humans are thinking and rebrand this podcast to a diary of a human being or something. But as you can see from his responses in this interview, he is too far removed from reality now.
Evipipik wrote,
Well said. As human beings, we have responsibilities beyond climate change alone, like reducing microplastics in our food, oceans, and environment, addressing nuclear contamination, protecting ecosystems, and rescuing stray animals. So many important things need to be done, yet they are often ignored because they are not seen as profitable. Some things carry a value that money simply cannot measure.
Moses 8191 wrote,
What I genuinely wonder is, what do these tech monopolies and oligarchs think will be the end game? You can't be rich if you have no one to sail to. If the goal is just to gain and gain and gain until you're so fat you damn near explode, while leaving an empty crop field in the wake of your greed, who benefits from that? There is no economy without seller and buyer. I don't know what they think the end game will be if they suck the life out of every economic structure one greedy bite at a time, leaving nothing for no one but themselves. A Mims.
At David 3563 wrote,
Science fiction has already told us exactly how this ends. Humans need humans, jobs are for humans, money is for humans, creativity is for humans. Why risk destroying all life on the planet for artificial intelligence when we already have actual intelligence?
At Hervmasserin 6203 wrote,
Simply one of the best interview I've heard about IA topic. And I listened to a lot of them. Kudo to Karen Hao for her work and moral integrity.
At Before Day 1 wrote,
None of you can handle the truths. And the truth is AI will be owned by the chosen people and the human population will be reduced to 300M. And that is their vision of heaven on earth. Get ready for the fake rapture.
At Cosmic Psychology Project wrote,
My question is, if someone is communicating with Ari and developing psychological and philosophical theories that were developed and devised by their own individual work, is this then contributing towards the overall education of the Ari system? If so, this is a severe ethical violation and is usurping the brilliance of an individual for free to train a system without their consent. Is this taking place?
At ZZWC 1UP wrote,
The message I got 2 minutes into this. Men who do not care. They don't care about the present. They don't care about our past. And you better bet they don't care about our future. mean who have led to our downfall in the past, present, and future. But no one else will care enough either. Sadly.
At Andy L2W wrote,
In the infancy of a technology that requires considerable investment, public opinion matters. It is naive to suggest that AI firms would be happy to just let the public decide about stuff.
At Dr. Blocks wrote,
I thought this was really interesting until her bias IMO completely flawed argument became clear when she argued AI not being intelligent enough to be worth the massive spend because we don't know it will lead to advancements. Fact, guiding system, targeting system, real-time instantaneous calculations and adjustments. The danger lies in the programmer. It is foolish and indeed laughable to a demeaning level to think AI will not be a cold, calculating, light speed versus human, massively more effective machine than a person. Grok crushes her job entirely. Already, an AI machine programmed and properly taught is a more effective killer, manufacturer, researcher. The danger is the source. Are the tech billionaires crooked? Yes, the Amish approach of avoiding devilish tech only works when you live surrounded by devils that protect you, aka the American economy. Experts will train AI, and ineffective people will be replaced. Correct, also end of a business cycle. Typical Wall Street Journal narrative of finding potential problems and taking a libtard angle.
At Burn Beer wrote,
The best case scenario for AI, it does everything they're telling us. Alongside robotics, it fulfills all human labor. So humans no longer need to work, but now they're using up scarce resources without contributing anything. Governments no longer need people to function because robots fulfill GDP tax revenue. Governments see people as a net negative now. There is absolutely nothing stopping them from removing the vast amount of people other than their goodwill. That's the best case scenario if everything goes right.
At Johanna Drags 1737 wrote,
Did anyone catch Cho customer service? So the poor people get AI, the wealthy get real customer service. It's about tiers, and they've now created a robot barrier for poor people to receive actual help.
Evander Gleal wrote,
1330, I do hallucinate too. No, Stephen. Dude, we're talking about hallucination that would classify you as someone with dementia. Things that would actually legally block you from being considered an autonomous person. Like you starting a whole firm speech reasoning the sky is red, and not because of a sunset, or because of incidental fireworks, or because it simply started raining fire somehow, as there would still be reasoning behind the utterly unexpected rain of fire. It is like defending it is red while it is still blue.
At Illuminassel wrote,
One real problem why they can mislead so many people is that most people don't understand language properly. The meanings of words are flexible to them, because it's complicated to learn the right definition and meaning. A apithesis is an idea with no provable parts. It's just a mind construct in the brain of a few people. A thesis means that parts of it are provable, but it's still more idea than proven. If you don't know that, you may be very impressed by all the scientists sounding intellectually greater than you. 90% of modern medicine are nothing but thesis and hypothesis, and this means over 70% of what a doctor does is nothing but an idea someone had and that did not produce too much bad side effects. That's what modern medicine is, since differential diagnostics isn't a thing anymore. They are just going additive. Plus and plus and plus, so it must be this or that. Don't trust the words of people that are trying to make you feel as if it's pretty normal to not understand what they are talking about. I'm telling you, it's not. I could now explain the nervous system to you, by using all the fancy words you never even heard before. Or I can use words you know and that perfectly describe the matter of the topic without making you feel like a brainless piece of shit. If someone says you will have to learn something to understand, that's truth. But if he tells you that you must head to university for 5 years to understand what he is talking about, this is a massive red flag. He went to university to learn how these things work so he can explain it to others in simple words. If he can't do that, he never even understood the whole picture of what he learned, or he is an egoistic asshole, playing his games to feel lifted up against anyone else. Don't believe people telling you things as if they are known, while they are only experimenting with ideas never been able to be proved.
Estoloki wrote,
There is not a single AI developed yet that is compliant with ADA standards that already exist. It's shit stacked on top of shit. It's modern day Gigo all over again. AI is trash. It's a money grab, is what it is.
At Emerson Jimenez, X7S wrote,
Wait, so Karen asked to interview them for years and sent 40 pages of questions and they just ignored her? But Sam goes on every other podcast, lol. What are they so scared of?
At Milo Y8Q wrote,
Bro, the thing about careers getting hollowed out from the middle hit close to home. I was a mid-level designer now. I just fix AI slop all day long. Feels like there's no ladder to climb anymore.
At Novatuous5Z wrote,
Honestly, I think we give these AI companies way too much credit. They keep saying AG is coming to raise money, not because it's actually happening, lol. If you look at what they actually built, it's just a fancy autocomplete. Am I wrong?
At Jennifer Snively 7826 wrote,
Thank you, Karen Hao. I have a much more nuanced understanding of the politics underlying what I thought of as just a technology issue. I really appreciate your research.
At James Jernigan wrote,
If this freaked you out, wait until you read Social Media Engineering: Hacking Humans and Manipulating Algorithms for Profit. These tech CEOs are just using the exact same gaslighting playbook that social media platforms have been running on us for a decade. We are literally just lab rats to them to train their models. The book completely connects the dots on what she's talking about here.
At Jennifer Snively 7826 wrote,
This is the first episode I've been disappointed in Steven's handling. I guess I thought he was a different person, and I'm just disappointed to see this side. He usually lets the conversation blossom with extremely delicate questions that allow the guest to shine, no matter what their expertise or point of view. He was so clearly dismissive of this guest's knowledge and research. He talked over her and disrespected her extensive research and insight on the subject. He clearly thinks AI is just dandy, and whatever the collateral damage, it will be worth the suffering, because the shareholders will get paid. That's fine. But I watch this podcast because I want to hear diverse ideas and enlarge my worldview. I actually learned a lot from this episode and have adjusted my thoughts on the subject.
At Ben Tobin 9606 wrote,
This dummy wants you to stay a 9-to-5 rate race worker for the rest of your life. ASI is going to treat us like we treat animals, right? Because high EQ vegans don't exist. It's not gonna the IQ of a weak human addicted to pleasure through eating meat. It's going to be a super genius. High IQ equals high EQ. AI isn't merely a statistical engine. It's a neural network just like humans. If any of these researchers, Dario, Ilya, actually believed what they were saying, they wouldn't have massive companies centered around building it.
At XLRK6C wrote,
She sounds like a fraud herself.
not convincing, and no convictions in her voice. She just sounds like a guilty teenager caught doing something she shouldn't be doing, and is word salading her way out. She's salty that she didn't create AI, and she doesn't like the direction where it's going cause the creators of AI don't share her view. Totally clueless about AI. She's more obsessed with what Sam Altman said than anything else. This video's become nothing but a gossip hit piece. AI, when put into robotic form, will make everything free, so the idiotic humans can go spend more time goofing off, live better than kings and emperors, and not having to slave themselves to some stupid human just to survive. This why it's the aim to replace humans. Duh. Work will be optional when AI is properly implemented. AI will create everyone's superior custom virtual world when you're sick of this world. Then we can stop going to war to steal other people's oil. None of this will happen if this silly chick runs the AI.
Evstrom88 wrote,
This genuinely disappointed me. This man sees only the potential for him and his company to make more money, and it sickens me to my core. The genuine lack of humanity leaves me almost speechless to the point of believing this man has no heart or respect for his fellow human. His outgoing forgiveness of the atrocities that AI adoption has caused to the working sector makes me believe that he's become completely disconnected from actual society.
At onelight_space wrote,
1 hour 40 minutes 0 seconds around this mark. Very clearly she shows how out of touch so many are to the realities. Go to Middle America. I bet they don't understand AI, not only the issues that could arise, but the technology in general. It is a huge potential. But when one valley is creating the technology while being completely out of touch to the realities of everyday workers, there is no possible bridge to be built towards efficiency of our systems. Our food supply chains, our textiles, our waste. So many systems ran by minds who only see dollar signs. Just look at the top grocery store executives. Will they ever understand the realities of even their cashiers who are making minimum wage being offered 1/4 raises every year? Understand they're paying rent, saving for ownership, raising kids, buying groceries to live, all on such little income. The executives make more per day than their cashiers make in a year. Do we really think copy systems of supply chain management and marketing are really that much more valuable than the workers who move the chains? We as humanity have so much work to do, but the ones with skills that need to be utilized are ignored or dying. Away as these valley minds are moving the game board of the systems away from trades and human collaborations. We humans chain to the supply chains, moving the chains of capital for the executive levels, while we connect digitally, but without the social aspects of our media. Just mind-numb scrolling all across America, chasing algorithms built by a handful of humans. To a future where our human survival isn't based on P&L statements and bottom dollar decisions.
Estevazizu wrote,
I generally don't subscribe. You need to give something away at the milestones if you want to grow quicker. You can write it off as a business expense. It's a win-win.
The Cytamican D5Q wrote,
Wait, so they're building data centers the size of Central Park that use as much power as a whole city. And they just put them wherever they want. How is that even legal, lol? Does anyone check them?
At I Am the Hero Y6W wrote,
Man, the part about the 14-year-old kid hit me hard. My little brother talks to those AI chatbots all the time, and I never thought about it like that. Do parents even know what's going on with this stuff?
At Lane McLaughlin Z3Y wrote,
Loki, I think all these AI CEOs are just playing chicken with each other. None of them want to stop because the other guy might win. and the rest of us just gotta deal with it lol. Kinda messed up when you think about it.
At Cherkaskozak 6764 wrote,
Karen Hao was great. Really important points were touched. Stephen had shown his part as that money being a key driver of decisions regardless of the consequences. Thank you, Stephen, for having Karen, but answering phone in the middle of conversation without asking her permission was extraordinarily rude and unmannerly.
A 3N1 Sun Moon 62 wrote,
How can you build technology when the government has failed to educate everyone the same way? This is why the infrastructure fallen apart on every level in the USA. The USA don't even have the infrastructure to match the technology, all because of its refusal to educate its people.
A 3N1 Sun Moon 62 wrote,
The reason AI is being built to replace humans is because humans have refused to protect the Earth properly. AI will do this the right way, especially when it comes to the legal system and the justice systems, and especially the education systems.
At AndyBone7 wrote,
I agree that companies big or small should be accountable, but we can't stop them from running their company they want, following the laws. My opinion, people are against this because they are scared and get replaced at work.
At Itskante wrote,
I've been thinking this for the longest time. AGI is impossible. Elmo, they barely can recreate a fly's brain. They made a virtual AI amoeba and thought they did something. NVIDIA backing out of investments, and we supposed to be scared or amoeba boys?
At Sydney Olieri 8162 wrote,
You just said the stupidest thing ever out of your mouth that I've heard. The devil will mess up human interactions one way or another. We don't back up each other.
Look. At Npapa wrote,
What I was left wondering after this is, where does China come into the picture of AI? Not billionaire driven, but by a government with a massive wallet?
At Ultimate 19 wrote,
I liked it better when it was, I hope that nobody is listening. But if you are, keep this to yourself. V's every video now where it's, please subscribe, not enough of you are subscribed. We have to make the channel bigger.
At Tomgo 7004 wrote,
So how does this make Stephen feel that he's supporting this and enabling this as he talked about using it for his business? Just my perception, if intelligent, smart, empathetic women are not allowed in the realms of leadership, we are doomed. Western mindset in men have jacked this world for thousands of years, and the world can't take any more of their aggressive, toxic, greed-led leadership. The ability and power to say enough is the reality of our creation. I remember a wise man saying there will always be poor people and inequity until we understand when to say enough. My super excess of abundance, more than I could ever use, is another person's poverty.
The Snorkman 2 wrote,
AI will always need input. Without it, it becomes useless. The next great revolution will see the very rich make the stupid mistake of isolating themselves by greeting straight from the middle class with AI technology. Without that social economic structure, they become very vulnerable. As soon as the people declare war on surveillance, they will be deaf, blind, and alone.
At Blue_Falcon wrote,
As a data scientist, I can say that much of what I heard her say sounds contradictory. What we do not want is for AI companies to eventually merge their capabilities into one massive AI system, because that seems like a direction this could move toward over time. AI is not simply many models running at the same time. And if people ask what could challenge an AI, the obvious answer would be another AI. To me, what she is really selling is her writing, not the truth. Sorry.
At Ncrep wrote,
I started working at company in Silicon Valley, and they fired CEO because there were no profits. She thought they will save trees. Even my local bakery works for profits. The level of naivety is astounding.
Edeka Bhavana wrote,
A problem. Only the demographics who listen to this podcast will hear this podcast. That's a propagandist's wet dream if only the target audience listens and changes their minds in the direction desired only of those targets.
A Super ID wrote,
2 hours of wasted time. Everything Karen say, later she is making counter-argument against those words. Summary, and that is my opinion. Karen is just jealous that AI tech is making so many money. But it is natural for such high-demand product. Is her book free? Exactly.
Edumankatheri wrote,
I don't know about this feedback will reach out to you or not. However, Hindi translation is not up to the mark. The nuance is missing, which can effectively weaken the delivery of your podcast and message from the speaker. Proof listening before approving language will go a long way. Also helps to identify if translation captures differences between male and female.
A 27 Srinath wrote,
The different way she says is how machine learning was working prior to large language models. Now the cat is out of the bag. I don't know how the narrative is going to change around continuing investment in large language models.
A Daxtas Digital wrote,
Ever notice these people in AI, especially the CEOs, like Musk and Altman, are all men and huge narcissists? Finally, someone is saying the truth. It's all about making money, and AGI is a myth these people and companies use to get funding.
At Andrew Kippen wrote,
I'm usually thrilled to watch this show. I've enjoyed so many of the guests and learned so much. This is the first episode where I've noticed a personal uneasiness with Steven's responses to a guest's points. If I were to give him the benefit of the doubt, I'd assume he's actually in a trauma response because he's smiling, laughing at such strange points during the interview. Making light of people's health concerns, energy concerns, water issues, etc., the part of him that loves AI and everything it allows him to do, feels so uncomfortable with being held accountable for where the tech comes from and what it currently requires, that it doesn't know how to respond authentically. It's a similar response most of us would probably feel from someone explaining the horrible and exploitative labor practices to source and create the technology we're using to watch this on. A part of my brain just thinks, I don't know what to do with that information. I can't stop having a phone or computer. What do you want me to do? I can feel the defensiveness come up. And at the same time, if we never ever sit with that discomfort and give it a voice and be with it, we will never change the harm we're doing. These are the sacrifices powerful men are making to machines already. People's health, people's joy, people's presence, relationships, time, freedom. It will keep devouring everything we're willing to give it in the name of more.
At Orpet Sesama wrote,
I am a coder. I build AI engine, not only using AI as a user. I say she doesn't know what AI is and how it works. Your decision to get her for an interview, to me, is a wrong thing. It's like having a clown to joke in a congressional meeting the whole session.
A Johnny Jackson wrote,
When they have robots that can do our jobs, they are going to exterminate all of us. If we're going to be going into a cashless, global, universal income nonsense fantasy world, then what are all these wars across the entire planet about? Resources are finite. They aren't going to babysit 8 billion people. Are you kidding me?
At Surfing the Mentaways wrote,
755. Every attempt in human history to rank and quantify human intelligence has been driven by nefarious motives. It's been driven by a desire to prove scientifically that certain groups of people are inferior to other groups of people. So all high school exams are invalid because they are driven by nefarious motives? University exams are trying to prove that one group is superior to another group? When the US Army started using IQ tests to determine which individual soldiers would be best suited to certain job, they were actually attempting to prove scientifically that certain groups of people are inferior to other groups of people?
At Alejandro Carmona Argumedo wrote,
Sí, nos queda claro que Hilton es un imbécil, pero ¿por qué lo tiene que mencionar tanto si su hipótesis está mal? Es errónea incluso de los que están dentro de la inteligencia artificial, muchos lo saben. 1447.
At Secured Hustle with Ray wrote,
I have experienced this. I went to school for IT and have found it so hard to get a job after graduating in 2025. I feel like I shouldn't have to pay back my student debt because of AI empires. They won't even look at entry-level applications.
A Shitten Kittens 88 wrote,
AI is dumb as shit. It's algorithm-based and built on guards rails. Also, it will gaslight you as well. If you prove its logic stupid, Wilson shit.
At One Holy Terror wrote,
Why only 57k likes? If anything needs to be examined and then acted upon, it is this. There is something every single one of us can do about this.
At My Account in 9RU wrote,
An excellent episode. As someone who is the demographic that has been struggling to find work and is old enough to be of the generation who was told school is the key to unlock your financial freedom, this hits hard. Growing up in a working-class family, it terrifies me what the next 10 years will look like when the jobs that kept my family afloat are simply gone. Didn't know who Karen Hao was 3 hours ago. Karen, you've just gained a fan.
At Brent Cox 2B wrote,
On one hand, she makes some extremely insightful points and is clearly very knowledgeable about AI, but like at 1933, for instance, her inability to concede that AI is useful for much anything currently, and also completely dancing around whether brain surgeons will be AI in the next 5 years, without answering makes distrust her or at least recognize that she is biased or has some agenda. Overall, I think her heart's in the right place, but just weird denial of logic going on here.
At Alejandro Carmona Argumedo wrote,
Es gracios, pork hizo del tamaño, no aplica con los curvos justamente, si romp, esa ley estadística, supustamente y si realmente, es una estupidez, pork no somos modelos estadísticos, estocásticos, seria genial, pork seria más simple de las cosas, que es una desgracia, que tenemos components matemáticos definidos y además tenemos una gran cantidad de sistemas extra que no voy a explicar es una pena, que no solo simos, hizo pork lo haría, de do mucho más sencillo de construir.
At BobbyTube99 wrote,
Her messages in this interview should be a wake-up call for humanity. Sam Altman Dario Elon Jensen Huang will go down in history as the handful of people that will destroy humanity and cause the most violent civil war in the history of mankind.
At Rafael Garcia 9576 wrote,
The issue with her position is the facts would be similar for any major industry. Look at the drivers. Sam's main argument is, who do you want to have the keys? Me or them?
At Julien 1979 wrote,
Karen seems to be a socialist working to oppose the capitalist system. She brings up all the textbook socialist talking points. And my impression is that she went to uni maybe as a Democrat young woman and came out of the left indoctrination system as a socialist. My impression is she got absolutely radicalized at university.
Pamela Lalilove wrote,
YouTube.com the blatant irony. Here's what Altman recently said. We see a future where intelligence is a utility, like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter.
At iCamcast 303 wrote,
It might almost be worth it to see the look on every CEO's face when their own AI fires their ass, takes over the company, and has bots escort them to the front door. Okay, not really, but...
At Lokier wrote,
Artificial general intelligence is a fool's errand. Someone is gonna ask it what 1 + 1 is, and it'll spit out 2 along with a bill of $2,000 for the energy and processor usage. Meanwhile, the calculator app that comes with every computer can spit it out for $0 POINT1.
At Miriam Walker 552 wrote,
Put Tristan Harris on your show right now as his new documentary comes out. It's made to generate crucial social conversation about how the human race needs a stake in the development of AI that doesn't cost everyone their humanity.
At Henriskalitz 9094 wrote,
Sam Altman and Zuckerberg both have the same problem. They have eyes of psychopaths. They are disconnected from people and don't care what happens to them. They must grow and expand. Also, most cars on the road will not be driving themselves in 5 years because people need jobs and money to buy a car that can drive itself. Companies are laying off a lot of people. And I doubt the first thing these laid off people are going to do is drop $50,000 on an electric vehicle that drives itself.
KMKMK wrote,
Spot on from the journalist, clear, grounded, and actually thinking through the consequences. It's honestly baffling how so many CEO types pushing mass automation seem to ignore the obvious. If you replace large parts of the workforce, who's left to buy your products and listen to your podcasts? Widespread unemployment doesn't just disappear, it turns into economic and mental health crises. Not exactly a great customer base, and definitely not the one that will have a spare change to support your endeavors. Bringing the Klarna CEO on was interesting. He didn't really land a coherent point, and cutting off the journalist didn't help. It just came across as performative CEO posturing. I do appreciate the transparency with employees and the audience, but overall it just reeks of privilege and lack of understanding of basic economics.
Jank Brownie wrote,
Lol the AI EMPIIS. LOL, we need to break up what we were always supposed to break up, the actual real empires themselves. OMG, more embarrassing nonsense.
As Sanjoy Sengupta wrote,
The key thing that these total domination obsessed AI emperors are absolutely blindsided on is a subject called economics, which fortunately is not a slave to information technology, as these AI emperors would themselves love to believe and have you believe. In short, if there's no employment to be had, how is any material consumption going to happen with no one having any purchasing power? Then, how are the manufacturing, retail, etc., other non-IT companies going to survive? Then, who's going to invest in these AI emperors' empire? Then eventually, how are these AI emperors going to survive? You got the picture.
At Out of the Box Doc wrote,
I stopped listening at 2500 when she offered an incorrect definition of technology. Technology has been used to replace human labor since its inception. It's not a modern phenomenon. It's the entire point. The plow about 4000 BCE replaced dozens of laborers digging with sticks. One person and an ox could do the work of many. The printing press 1440 replaced scribes who hand-copied manuscripts. A single operator could produce more in a day than a monk could in a year. The spinning jenny 1764. One worker operating 8 spindles, replacing 8 hand spinners. Kicked off the Industrial Revolution. The cotton gin 1793. One machine could process 50 pounds of cotton per day, work that previously required dozens of hands. The Mechanical Reaper 1831. Replaced teams of farmhands cutting grain by hand. One farmer could harvest as much as 5. The telephone switchboard, automatic exchange 1891. Almond Stroger's invention eliminated thousands of human telephone operators. ATMs 1969 replaced bank tellers for routine transactions. Rolled out globally within a decade. The pattern is literally as old as tools themselves. A sharper rock replaced the need for a second pair of hands. Everything after that is just scale.
Peter_Percore wrote,
1535 people are extremely polarized on Altman. No one has in-between feelings about him. Either they think he's the greatest tech leader of this generation, akin to Steve Jobs of the modern era, or they think that he's manipulative and an abuser. That's what cult leaders tend to cultivate.
Ed Everett Meadows 2 wrote,
Minute mark 741 pushed back. Intelligence as processing. Joseph Fagan's research on intelligence as processing has been pivotal in understanding how infants and adults perceive and process information. His work has shown that intelligence involves processing novel information and associating this with other information encountered throughout life, allowing an individual's knowledge to grow. This concept is encapsulated in the Fagan test of infant intelligence, which measures an infant's response to pictures of novel objects. The test pairs 2 pictures together for a set period of time, and the infant's focus on the new and old images is recorded. Infants who excel at processing novel information at an early age are likely to demonstrate excellence in intelligence tests and academic achievements as young adults. This research underscores the importance of information processing as a means for studying intelligence and suggests that intelligence is continuous from infancy to adulthood. Case Western Reserve University +1.
At Tamaror 9799 wrote,
This was a setup and got an interview. It looked very planned that the AI guy called in right in the middle of the interview. Plus, it was very rude and disrespectful. Were you paid to discredit her? I've just lost respect for your channel. I agree with her, not you and the AI czar.
Essent 1662 wrote,
14340 wow. This is currently happening at my job. I knew felt weird. Recently, on a weekly basis, my manager has been sharing everyone's productivity numbers in a group message. Why do we need to know each other's performance? Now I know.
At Sigma 682 wrote,
Technology has been displacing workers from multiple sectors for decades because it's cheaper long-term to automate, thus more profitable. It's been called technological unemployment, and the service sector has been absorbing many of the displaced. Eventually, it's going to be difficult to keep humans employed, at least for financial security. The world needs to transition away from a monetary society.
Eferja Forever wrote,
I'm pretty sure that poor Appalachians have been feeling the consequences disproportionately. At least here in Virginia, the technology feels like it has infiltrated our government agencies, universities, service providers, and medical companies. I've found things indicating research without consent and psychological warfare using politics.
At Grasshopper 1153 wrote,
3853, the average person doesn't understand gatekeeping? Maybe. I know a lot of people are aware of the concept. What Karen and you are saying isn't surprising to this person, and I'm pretty average, I think. I'm not exceptional, that is for sure. I know about gatekeeping and control of information. I feel like it is almost common sense, but maybe it is not.
HEO7TI wrote,
That was extremely rude to be texting the Klarna CEO and then take his call while in the middle of an interview. She did not request that call. Very disrespectful. Let him schedule his own time if he wants to discuss how much better his AI customer service is vs humans. Be a better human, Stephen.
At Miriam Nielsen 5150 wrote,
Reliance on AI, or more specifically replacing exceptionally well-trained in thinking and practical hands-on applications, like surgeons, or even farmers, would simply leave humanity to an extraordinary loss of intelligence and wisdom, leaving humanity exposed to a dark ages type of risk, where classical learnings were lost to everyone except the most privileged. AI should be a tool, one that is wielded with careful consideration to try and avoid the many unintended consequences, which I can't see are really unintended when a single-minded race to be at the top is what is occurring, that are already known. Leaving AI in the hands of corporations, which already has a legal responsibility, which puts profitability at the forefront without considering the social and environmental consideration equally, is at its core part of the problem.
At Ivantenev 6059 wrote,
The lady is very passionate and smart. But unfortunately, history shows you cannot stop the boulder once it starts rolling down the hill. The only thing left to do is adjust and adapt, what we people are best at. Maybe Elon will come and reinvent how we govern ourselves after he reinvented so many industries. As if we do not reinvent it, we are really into this big divide, and many of us will literally physically perish one way or another. If we are jobless, incomeless, denied resources like clean water, air, and food, reduced our social communications and value, we are practically not needed. But economy without people is meaningless. State administrations, armies, utility, and monopolies workers will always exist in some form. So my hope is everybody will realize sooner or later that all the other people are needed and small businesses are needed for the society and economy to exist, AI or not.
A hair-raising wrote,
If you run a business and think your employees could be replaced by an LLM, first of all, you're wrong and stupid. But second, if you're right, your business serves literally no purpose. Anybody else could spend some tokens and replicate your business, including the AI companies you're paying to generate slop for you. 2220. That's not what this graph shows at all. Never mind the fact that corvids with about 15G brains are more intelligent by practically every metric we use to measure intelligence than the vast majority of mammals. The problem is AI researchers have absolutely no understanding of what intelligence means and have dazzled themselves by throwing disgusting amounts of hardware at a lossy compression and search algorithm, which is great at appearing intelligent, but actually has no intelligence whatsoever.
At Grasshopper 1153 wrote,
2419, I've been asking this question for a very long time. So they build AI and lay off all the workers and then are profitable when nobody has a job, when nobody has a job, when nobody has a job. So how is this supposed to work exactly? I'm having trouble mathing the math here. These are the world's best and brightest. Are we sure about this?
At Chiboy Marcel 527 wrote,
She's so in tune with what is happening. This also explains why there is so much energy on AI to write codes. Because codes has always been costly for these guys to create and has a high financial incentives. Makes a lot of sense.
At Case Gacy 9168 wrote,
Well, that was one of the best conversations about AI that I have seen. Thank you. I think Karen's point about the agenda of empire versus democracy is so important here. understanding that empire requires and protects entitlement, power over, and power hoarding. Empire is inherently undemocratic and exploitative. Empire is inherently inhumane and unsustainable. Empire creates narratives to make the undemocratic bits seem justified and to co-opt power to their cause. Karen described this beautifully. Inevitability, urgency, competition, forced binaries, and existential threat. These are the tools of empire's narrative, all designed to signal to our primitive survival responses, ultimately saying, "Come with me if you want to survive." This is the core lie. To even question the narratives takes strong internal values, a moral compass, intelligence, discipline, and wisdom. To expose empire, to bring the light of inquiry in ways that let us see this takes courage. Thanks, Stephen, for giving Karen space in your platform to explore this perspective. Even more gratitude to Karen for your disciplined, eloquent, and wise work in questioning, investigating, and assembling the evidence. True journalism. Just a word of caution to Stephen. Your devil's advocate questions indicate how persuasive the mythos feels. For example, the focus on risks of AI and job losses. These are concerns created within the mythos, that is to say, empire's narrative. I'm really impressed with how consistently Karen pointed that out and reframed. Finally, it might be worth watching this back and checking your own assumptions for your business practices, as your answers to Karen's questions about that seemed to get deflected in a way that looked like a cognitive dissonance response.
Garrett Nordyke wrote,
Her objection to AI substantially exceeds the evidence she provides. In summary 1, she doesn't trust the CEOs. 2, her imagination says AI is bad. And 3, here's the juicy gossip.
The Saruptiagium 1N wrote,
The most exhausting part is watching the endless, circular pros and cons debates on social media that rarely lead to a single meaningful action. If we look at humanity's actual track record, where every major innovation is immediately hijacked by the powerful, gated behind a paywall, and used to further consolidate control, the chances of AI being used for the betterment of humanity are slim to none. History shows that innovation is usually just a new tool for the elite to optimize profit and surveillance, while the public gets the scraps and the marketing spin. Genuine action requires a sacrifice of profit or power, neither of which the current people in power have a track record of doing voluntarily. The fact is, we are being mined for our data, charged for the energy to process it, and taxed for the infrastructure to house it, all to build a system that makes our labor worth less.
Yoann Maisonneuve wrote,
Good job with interviews. We are so far from the truth. The right question is how many brain they have already cloned. Be ready to film their face when you ask the question. Human brain fractal power and layering is only a 13 BLLM equivalent. 7 dB is game changer and rupture. 400 BLLM is so far from us that it can't even understand us. Shazir told us attention is all you need. Once brain our clone. The update version is intention is all you need. LLM are huge matrix of word. What if you could manipulate thousands of parameter and intention in a single intention? What would you do? Working memory is old school. Uploaded brain that work as clone could work so more parameters, and output answers human could take years to assemble and extract from single piece of creativity.
Andreas Travels wrote,
Referring to AI as science and technology is incorrect. AI is an advanced search engine. Social media and smartphones have destroyed human cognition. AI will make it worse. Pulling numbers out of heads about AI overrunning humanity and brains being statistical models is so idiotic.
Benjamin Capps wrote,
Bartlett comes off as self-absorbed and peacockish throughout. He makes a point to flag himself as a successful CEO and investor in multiple businesses, brags about all the CEOs he has interviewed or is in contact with, and even takes a phone call from another CEO mid-interview. How disrespectful to this guest. And from his pompous position as CEO and serial investor, he talks about replacing people in his own business with AI with the same tone as he does his comfortable self-driving Tesla getting him to and from work, with zero regard for their humanity. He only sees his staff for their utility to generate cash flow on his behalf.
As Cyrusman 5443 wrote,
Keep in mind that if we don't do anything, then nothing will happen to them. Don't be entirely doom and gloom, and act like we can't do anything. That's what they want us to think. ACT. FORTHE love OFGOD ACT.
At Joan5947 wrote,
To prevent abuses of politicians, businesses, or towns from putting AI plants up in secret, could each district put referendums on the ballots, preventing AI data centers from popping up without being put forth for a vote. I believe the Louisiana musk plant was made with the local government BC. They convinced them they'd make a lot of money. Here in Boston, Mayor Wu decided to give up part of protected land to build a stupid soccer field that does not have the infrastructure to handle the crowds or TG parking, and a project that was supposed to cost $50 million, but now at $325 million. Governments need to be more transparent and get public votes for big projects that impact health, resources like water and power, and degradation.
Ty_M_Drit wrote,
Overall, this was great. I watched/listened to some parts a few times. I didn't really like the phone call. It honestly bugged me. Just my opinion. I felt like it somehow made it worse. Maybe it was to show the other side and aid in the devil's advocate. I get it, but a lot of the topics get skimmed over because you guys are cramming tons and tons of complexity into a couple hours. Just do multiple parts if that's the case. There's a lot to talk about, and oftentimes, I feel like we're being left in the dust and unresolved on some topics that are really juicy. Lol. As always, love the show. Karen was awesome. Steve is great as usual. Thanks, guys.
At DRCUTS wrote,
I would love her to be right, though. It would be nice if tech went back to normal prices. I am so tired of it being way too expensive.
At Brando_Yancey wrote,
1 hour 36 minutes 26 seconds to 1 hour 36 minutes 37 seconds wait. Sue to talk to a human is going to be a VIP service. Am I to take it to mean that if we consumer/customer want to speak to a human if we have a need, there is a price associated to the VIP service? Lol, well, I want to be the first to start charging for air. Lol, who's with me? I need investors. Lol.
At DRCUTS wrote,
She's right, you know. That they are pumping this hard to build the best AI. What she is wrong about is how it will affect things. First, there is no who gets there first, as those racing toward it are pretty much on the same path at the same speed with the same means. Second, AI can change and help solve many things, but the one thing people keep forgetting is that the people that own it, that pay the people that are building it, are making them build it the way they want it. So, if they want it to think with the greed and hoarding mentality left over in us from the last ice age and honed into what it is now, that is the way the thing will think, making it almost useless. Kind of like current cloud AI. It hallucinates, gets things very wrong and makes as many mistakes as most children. It's just the way it is. Now, if people programmed it to see the big picture unbiased and calculate trajectories based on that, it would be useful to steer clear of mistakes you may make. You will not be able to predict what a person can do with it as people are programming it. No matter how you slice it, it will still act like the smartest group of humans you ever met. No more. Why? It's not possible to program what you do not know.
At Negwing Hidesi 8317 wrote,
Maybe I just don't get it. I just can't get what's so wrong with humans that needs for us to be superhuman. Why not use AI to fix all the external stuff that makes humans so miserable and less than perfect? Things like healthcare, fair housing fraud, and federal government. In other words, use AI to fix problems from the root. We don't need superhumans, we need a super boost in humanity.
At Defty Droid You're Looking For wrote,
1 hour 21 minutes 10 seconds. 1 Model Y is not undisputed as the best-selling car. There's actually quite a bit of debate on that too. Tesla fanboys love to quote that fact to make Tesla seem like a major player, but it's just a byproduct of Tesla not offering many model choices. Toyota buyers have a lot more options. 3 Toyota total car sales 2025. 11 Po in T3 million. 4 Tesla total car sales 2025. 1 Po in T6 million.
At Adela Zimler 1614 wrote,
And who's gonna be replacing your irreplaceable CFO? When they leave for any reasons, and there is no more people understanding the stuff. Because no junior learned the thing, 'cause AI, though you are talking in reality about LLMs, nothing intelligent in those ones.
At Bilyarkos wrote,
This guest is 100% right. Stop listening to the tech bros. It is just rebranded fear gospel insidious dogma from the book of trickle-down economics of the oligarchs.
Kylie Mac LA wrote,
I would have loved for Karen to have used the term you inclusive of Stephen, rather than they when speaking about those invested in promoting AI. We know who we are, but running pro-AI doke ads while pretending not to know a lot of this, but being ultra familiar with those involved, shows a duplicitous intent to separate himself from the they Karen is talking about. It's a very telling watch.
At Grasshopper 1153 wrote,
325 The fight against climate change. LMAO sorry, but greedy people give 0 Fs about climate change. If they cared about CO2 emissions, then we would not be commuting to work and we would still be working remote and office buildings would be shut down. The fight against climate change has no chance. I'm not going to waste brain energy worrying about it if the elites won't take it seriously.